I'm the Greek Retro Geek. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you the last haul that I got from that game store, which was basically pricing all the games below $9.99, 50% off. So yesterday was the last day of January, so that was the last day of the deal. I decided to go back and see if I can get some more things, and I did spend $100, but I think that for what I got with this amount of money, I got a good deal. I think I end up getting more like than 25 games. So without any further ado, I'm going to start showing to you what I got from Game On yesterday. So first, we have the Sega Smash Pack for the Game Boy Advance. What's interesting about this game is that it actually has a Golden Axe, the Sega Genesis version of Golden Axe, but this is not emulated. This is developed for the system from the ground up, which is really interesting. So I want to see how this plays. There's also a couple more games. I think another game in this compilation, Seco the Dolphin, the Dolphin. So no one knows that there is, ports of some of the Sega Genesis games, not in the form of emulated ports, but more like unique compilations for the GBA. Everyone talks about this infamous Sonic the Hedgehog port, which is really bad because of the audio and how the camera zooms. So the next item is NES Open Tournament Golf, and this is kind of like an uncommon game, even though it's a golf game and it features Mario. So Mario Golf is, Mario Golf is a well-known series. The golf game for the NES is also well-known, the Black Label. But then we got the NES Open Tournament Golf, which is a better game. Not really rare or anything like this, but quite uncommon. It's a later release. So later releases had this silver sticker on the back, and you can tell this is, of course, this is a three-screwed game, right? Like all the late releases. Then we have another Black Label game, Soccer. Pretty classic, very basic, pretty classic, but I want to make sure that I have all the Black Label NES games. It's a nice subset to go for, especially when the price is right. So this was $4. It's 50% of the price that you see on the label. So Soccer for the NES, I'm really happy with this. Another nice kind of like 2-in-1 combo. I think this also came out in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. This is Superbike V-Ball. This is a volleyball game with a World Cup for the NES, 2 games in 1. So basically, both of those games are Kunio-kun games, which came with different games names in the United States and in Europe. Many people do not know about this, and if you play the games, if you have played the games, you can tell that these are Kunio-kun games. The sprites, the cutesy sprites with the large heads, screams Japan. So another nice addition for $4. Then we have the classic Millipede, the sequel of Centipede. A good arcade port. What's interesting about this? I bought this game from a local store in my city, and if you look at the sticker, whoever basically traded the game in had bought it from another place in the city in the first place. So the sticker says Main Street Audio Video. It's a well-known place here in Mount Pleasant. So Millipede for the NES for $4 cannot beat this deal, especially in 2023. Now a game that I did have, but complete in box, and I would like to have a loose copy around, and especially when you only pay $3 for this. This is the original Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest in Europe. This is the first well-known JRPG game which established some of the JRPG rules when it comes to the turn-based battles, and of course you know that it spans many sequels. There is like 11, 12 games of the main series, and then there is many other subgenre games and action games based on the series and spin-offs and more. So Dragon Warrior for the NES in pretty good shape. And again, this is one of these games with the silver, with the gold, instead of just the plain paper sticker on the back. Next, we have a classic for the NES, and I think, looking at the pile, there's only 1 or 2 more NES games to show. So this is Operation Wolf, one of the better known Taito light gun games from the arcades. This is a good port, but one of the better ports of this game are on the Sega Master System. So if you haven't played the game, so I would say, and if you have a Sega Master System, the Sega Master System port I don't think is really expensive, so might be the way to go. This was a really good deal, so I bought the game for I think $3 or $4 to add to the collection. So I dropped a couple of things, as you could hear, so I'm gonna go back and grab them. And I dropped more things, which is fine. I want to keep it live. This is another classic from Sunsoft this time, and it spans recent remakes, and I think there's a sequel. This is Blaster Master for the NES. A really, really good game. I mean, you have this, little kind of like vehicle, and then, this little character gets out of the vehicle, and you can go underground and do stuff underground. And then there is this kind of like top view levels, pretty good variety when it comes to how it plays. It's not an easy game, but it's a classic. The last game for the older Nintendo systems is just a filler, Super Solitaire for the SNES. For some reason I didn't have this game, so I bought it. It was like $3. Nothing special. I have no idea how it plays, and I don't think I would ever decide to, hey, what should I play today? Hey, let's play some Super Solitaire. I'll be honest with you and myself. So grabbing the disc-based games now, which I dropped, and maybe the Game Boy games will come last, which I also dropped. We have the Blood Rain 2 for the PlayStation 2, so I paid full price for this game. It was not qualifying for the discount. I only had the first one, and as you know, there have been some remakes recently for the Nintendo Switch. Classic series Blood Rain 1 and Blood Rain 2, with many combos, weapon upgrades, and fatalities and powers. Really violent games. This is a complete in-box game in a really good shape. A really nice and clean copy for the collection. I hope I didn't break it when I dropped it. Next we have for $5 Resident Evil 6 for the Xbox One. Everyone knows and loves the Resident Evil series. Not one of the best games in the series, but I don't think that I had this copy. As you know, I'm not focusing on collecting for the Xbox, but when I see something really cheap and good of a title, I buy it. This was a good deal. This is Tales of Zestiria for the PS4 for basically $5, which is really cool, half of the price that you see on the sticker. And then we have a couple more really great Xbox One games. First of all, we have this is one of the best recommendations I can give you for those of you folks who like Xbox games. This is the Rare Replay. This is a compilation with 30 classic Rare games spanning from the N64 era, the Bazooka Dui games for the Xbox 360, older games of the NES, the Battletoads games are there, Killer Instinct is here. This is an amazing compilation, and this is so much under discussed. Everyone should have this copy in your collection. It's dirt cheap, so it's not like $4. I only paid $4, but you can buy this game for like $10, $11, $12. And last but not least, before we go to the Game Boy games, I got for $5 Spyro Reignited Trilogy for the Xbox One. It has the first 3 games on the PlayStation. I do think that the disc doesn't have all 3 games because it says requires content download. I'm not sure about this, what it means when it says requires download. I know that this is the case for the Switch, but with the Switch cartridges, there's problems with how much you can fit on a game. So a couple more games, and I think that I have to move this box to grab them. And now that I got them, and a couple more games. First of all, for $3 I got baseball for the Game Boy. It's funny how most of the early Game Boy games show Mario somewhere, so I mean, it doesn't qualify as a Mario game, but oh well, it's nice to see Mario on the cover. Then for $4 I got Hyper Load Runner. I'm not a huge fan of the Load Runner series, but I didn't have this game, and I thought that, you know, Load Runner on the Game Boy, I think the system is a good type of system for these kinds of games. So this is Quarth. This is a very addicting game. You are basically shooting blocks. You have a small kind of like a aircraft, and you shoot blocks, trying to create you know, rectangular or square sets of blocks, and then they disappear. So it's kind of like a columns, a Tetris kind of like clone, but it's different from other games because you actually throw the blocks from bottom to the screen. It's really addicting. The screen comes down faster and faster. There is a Famicom version of this game and not an NES one, so there was a Game Boy port which came to the United States. And last but not least, another classic is a Motocross Maniacs for the Game Boy. This is a really cute early release for the system and really addicting. And I want to show you what other things that I got to make my collection more neat. And I only paid $150 for this kind of like a bag with 5 or 6 Game Boy plastic cases, and another $1.50 for these 5 or 6 Game Gear plastic cases. And I was really happy because for all these things I showed you, I think I paid $102, like $100 for like 25 games. And like many of these games are good games, and I think that I felt like I needed to go back. It was the last day of the deal, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe because there's going to be more coming. I'm the Greek Retro Geek. I'm glad that I was able to do this again. I'm planning to do it at least twice a week. Stay tuned.